Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun. I'm your host, Aries, and that's Aaron. Also codenamed Joe Bob McGee.
I don't know that name. Anyways, we're continuing on with book reviews, and instead of just fly fishing this time, we also are doing a golf book.
Golf for
Fly
Dummies?
Fishing for Dummies and Golf for Dummies. Could do Spanish for Dummies, but we haven't read that, even though we do own it. So, we should start with probably the the Fly Fishing for Dummies, because, well, we've been doing a lot of those, so a lot of people might be tuning in for fishing first.
Yes.
So, Fly Fishing for Dummies. It's a for dummies
Don't
book.
open it all the way. I got the
I
bookmark.
see where your bookmark is. And it's actually, in my opinion, it was a rather good book, and it was quite humorous and taught quite a bit. It's a very good book for a beginner or for someone who's been doing it but really just doesn't understand it that well yet. It's probably not for the advanced unless you want something to laugh at. Because it is humorous. There was a few moments I was laughing. So, what do you have to say on that?
I gotta say this book was really good. I was looking for starter books, as he knows, but I also was looking for books to help someone like A out.
Yes.
Angela out on fly fishing. So I was going through this tonight over it again just on the fly casting.
And I would definitely say that's a good one because it does keep you interested because it is humorous. Now, I will say something, though, that I'm talking about in all of our things. So, how would it look like on a bookshelf? Well, it's a dummies book. So, it's your usual yellow and black, and usually the dummies books aren't usually taken seriously by people. So if you're trying to build a nice looking bookshelf, you're not going to want a dummies book sitting on there. Now, if you're just trying to build a bookshelf of for dummies books, well, that's another story. For teaching someone, it's a great thing to teach somebody, and if you want it in your collection, I'd recommend getting it, but not keeping it visible, like putting it in a drawer under the bookshelf or somewhere else nearby so that it's not seen or behind some other books. Because, well, it's a for dummies book. So, that's what I have to say about Fly Fishing for Dummies.
Yes, I would have to agree with what he said. The thing I was talking, is it looks good on the shelf, but they're all of them are yellow, basically. Every one that
black
I've seen
and yellow.
is yellow.
It's very clear what they are, and they've become very popular, and heck, they do a very good job, so as I can see, of
this is the first.
giving beginners.
This is the first edition, the 1998 edition. I had to look it up for a reason because in the back here it says there's a free gift. Submit this card to Orvis and get a 156-page catalog. Orvis doesn't make the catalog 156 pages anymore.
Correct, and for those who were curious, it's written by Peter Kaminsky.
Yes.
Outdoor columnist for the New York Times and author of Fishing for Dummies.
Yes, he's very good. The other thing I was gonna say is there's 45 million dummies books in print. There's over probably 500 plus dummy books out there.
Yes.
I've only read 3 of them.
You've read 3? What's the other one you read?
Fishing for Dummies, the regular one.
Didn't know you read that one.
Yes.
So, I guess we can move on to Golf for Dummies.
Yes.
The interesting thing about this is it's written by Gary McCord, who's a CBS golf commentator. And he writes it with John Huggin, a Golf Digest correspondent. The forewords by Kevin Costner, and the afterwords by Hootie and the Blowfish. And it also is rather comical. It's great for a beginner golfer, but really the best thing to do when you're learning golf is probably to go to a pro shop and get an instructor and take some classes. Because really it's a game of feel. And so although the book might give you some insight, it's more of a history lesson in some ways. It really can't teach you the true dynamics of how the club's going to feel and how the ball's going to react and how to really have your swing. It might tell you keep your body straight while doing this and that, etc., while you follow through. That's really hard to put into practice till you have somebody sitting there with a ruler snapping you in the back if you end up slouching too much, and saying, hey, straighten up.
I was just thinking about it. Since we're talking about dummy books and they're humorous, I got one that I think Aaron should make for us. Actual book. Have you write it and see if they'll take it.
Video game playing for dummies?
There's already one of those.
Oh.
Sorry, no, I'm thinking how to truly be the President of the United States for dummies, since our current Commander-in-Chief needs a book like this, in my opinion. And I was doing that as a humorous thing since these are inside
So
humorous.
again, if you're making a shelf for golf books, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. It's not something that's going to have your friends sitting there saying, oh, wow, is that any good? I mean, they're going to sit there probably more like, you need a dummies book? I
wanted to say, in my opinion of the dummies books, including Golf for Dummies, there's other books out there. I looked on my library for the basic books because most of the golf books out there that I looked up on the library were all advanced. And you need something simple. These golf books were good. I mean, the only thing
another nice thing about this is it actually was considered one of the best sports books on the market in 1996. So that kind of tells you right there that not only is it a dummies book, but it's actually classified as one of the better sports books out there. So, and it does give you a lot of etiquette.
And it teaches you things like today. I was asking Aaron something.
And golf is a game of etiquette. You do not do certain things on a golf course.
I was trying to say to Aaron today when we were talking about it, it might have been yesterday, but like for example here, it talks about the definitions. Me and Aaron were playing it. In the video game he's playing 2009 Tiger Woods. They don't say ace. They say hole in one. This is ace. Albatross, double eagle. Eagle,
yeah,
birdie,
they don't use
par.
the word albatross either.
Double, bogey, double, or triple bogey.
And there's a lot of words that people might not understand about golf. Like, I still don't even, after reading this, understand everything. Like, in Tiger Woods, the commentators are always talking about the Bronca. Well, I don't necessarily know what a Bronca is. I've looked it up before. I've looked at it. It comprehended with me at the moment, and I've forgotten yet again because it's not really something that simple that you're just sitting there. Oh yeah, it's.
The only thing I could say about this book, and it is in there, I just have to look at it again once in a while. I know all my irons, my woods, and my drivers and stuff. The only one I keep forgetting about is the approach wedge, the AW. But otherwise, there's the sand wedge, the pitch wedge, the lob wedge, the approach wedge. Then you have your irons.
Knowing your clubs is one thing, and knowing how many you can have.
14 total.
Which ones to actually put together in it so that you have a good mix and match. I mean, you could end up having all woods, but,
And truly, real woods were made in persimmon woods, if you didn't know this. See, it's stuff like this that you taught, that before they changed over to irons or the new
steel,
hybrids.
Or titanium.
Exactly, or the new hybrids between iron and wood combined. They got these new hybrids. They call them like hybrid 3, 5s, and 7s. So,
Yeah, and then you had the original mallet. Hey, that was a good commercial. We watch golf almost every weekend. And there's this commercial where a guy's sitting there talking about the newest and most advanced club, and the guy behind him is saying, well, I don't understand because titanium is the best there is. And then later he's sitting at a bar and this guy's saying, steel's the best there is. And then another guy says, no, wood's the best there is. And then somebody else says, don't take my persimmon wood, it's the best there is. And then there's one other type, I forget what it is. And then you got the Scottish guy and he's like, the mallet's good enough for the king, it's good enough for me.
I like those Bertha commercials. There's long, and then there's Bertha long for drivers. The new $400 or $500. It's like $300 to $500 Bertha drivers. I think it is.
Honestly, I think golf is one of those games. They say it's one of the hardest games to learn, and I don't know. I can probably learn putting very good because, to me, I played billiards and I was extremely good at seeing the angles and the way that the ball would go off of other sections of the table. And I'm pretty good at telling a surface whether it's curved or not. I could probably do that very good, but I don't know about swinging a really thin, long piece of metal with a club barely the size of the ball and hitting the ball in the center of the ball to make it go as far as I want it to.
If the President of the United States can learn golf
maybe
before he was a senator, he wasn't playing golf. When he got into office, he started doing golf.
Maybe that's part of the problem. Our politicians shouldn't be playing golf. Maybe they should be playing billiards or bowling or something where
Fly
it doesn't
fishing.
take as much mental skill to learn, so that they're not trying to focus on their golf skills and they focus on their governmental duties of protecting the people and making sure that the government doesn't get out of hand, because after all, it's there for us and we put it there. And
I do want to say
they have no power if it weren't for us, and they kind of neglect that and forget about it.
I do want to say, if you know what you're doing, golf can be a good, inexpensive sport. I was talking to Aaron the other day about, and I'll bring this up since we're talking both about fly fishing and golf. Fly fishing can be expensive too, unless you know what you're doing. Anyways, when it comes to golf, I was talking about learning golf and going and using some clubs, out in the Philippines. Remember I told you about the Filipino club? One club, $8,000, 1 year, and you gotta pay $8,000 up front. It's like 400,000 pesos, which is about $8,000. I said, no, thank you. I'll go somewhere else to play golf, not in the Philippines if it's $8,000.
What you need to do first is get an instructor, and that's going to cost you some money too. So.
Well, they're between $20 and $50.
Before you even think about trying to play on a golf course.
Well, yes, and there's a small miniature golf course nearby.
So you might be able to get one lesson a month for like a year, and then you might be ready to try to hit the links.
Well, first got to get there, and
And you need to get practice, so you got to go to a driving range now and then to practice your driving.
Got to find out if there's a driving range nearby, which is, we got 3 golf courses in the area.
I'll guarantee one of those 3 golf courses has a driving range.
Well, that's why we'll be calling them Monday. So anyways,
if not, we'll just go out of town and put a pin in the middle of the road and enjoy ourselves whacking them into cornfields, and we'll get a bunch of crap balls.
And here's a little history note for you all. The biggest supplier that buys used golf balls is
me?
The United States Navy. They like to long drive them off an aircraft carrier.
By the way, I wonder if I could make fishing bait out of a golf ball. They usually float. No, they sink. I was thinking they float.
Oh, the other favorite golf commercial is the one where the guy is... They try to make... was it a golf? Anyways, it had to do with the golf commercial every time. And they're talking about tires made out of a soccer ball. That's what it was. Remember that one?
Oh.
That was pretty funny, too.
I don't remember that one. Oh, the Bridgestone commercial where it's hard to find good help. And they got the guy who's sitting there and he takes the thing and puts it in his coat. And they got the girl sitting there looking at it with glasses and stuff. And the guy driving around in the golf cart or whatever. Yeah, that's an alright one.
I was talking about the one where they said Bridgestone tires, remember? And then the guy has the soccer ball and he says they're good for tires, but they're not good for soccer balls. And he brought out this guy to test it, and then he falls on his face and whatever.
I like the one with the 4 marionettes sitting in the golf cart, and they're looking at a guy who's using his golf clubs, and they're like on patrol, and his golf clubs are outdated, so they tackle him, and they're like, stop using that one. We're the outdated golf club police or whatever. Here, start using this one and do better. I think that's a good commercial, and by the way, it's got Vegemite in it. So
yeah, I was gonna say, but anyways, these golf books, and I might read the Spanish for Dummies one day.
It's not bad if you want some For Dummies books sitting on your shelf, as you see, black and yellow, very clear what they are. They're good if you have somebody that you want to get interested, or somebody who's new to it and doesn't understand anything yet. Go ahead and get these for them as a nice little gift.
I was going to say the reason I read these was, at first, I thought, how stupid are these books? But when I got into them, in my opinion, reading them all the way through, they're easy to understand, you can learn about
and
it.
Entertaining.
And entertaining. The other reason is I was looking for an all-in-one book, which they're out there. for Angela. She wants to learn fly fishing, and I thought maybe Fly Fishing for Dummies, but she wants one of those ones that has fly tying, fly fishing, and fly casting all crammed into one, an ultimate guide. Because she said the Yellow Mill Bean or the Orvis.
Which we did yesterday, so.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch that video.
And again, I'm sorry our videos are so long, but we do like to ramble on, and we hope that we're semi-entertaining at least. At least I think that we're semi-entertaining as the video's being made, but oftentimes when hearing it played over, I'm like, dang, we sound lame. But anyways, give us suggestions, thoughts, comments, and all that other good jazz.
Or add us, or subscribe to us, post suggestions, comments, subscribe to us.
Or quietly flick us off to your camera, your computer monitor. Just, you don't have to tell us about it.
Yes. So, may God bless the world. Please look for some more book reviews soon when he gets done finishing the ones he has on Orvis. He's got a couple at his house. Then we're going to do the Orvis
But
guides.
right now I'm reading Poor Richard's Almanac, so...
Yes, and I gave him the Streamside Guide, this little mini vest one that I wanted
and
to
I got
together.
Spinoza's Ethics to go through, a book about Captain Cook's journals and travels, and I got another book
I will
from Thich
be...
Nhat Hanh.
I'm
being peaceful.
I will be reading the Porter Richards Almanac because Aaron wants me to, and we'll do a
Well, it's
review
historic.
on it.
You almost have to, because it's one of those historic books that just everybody knows or has heard of. So.
I've never heard it till he said, "Oh yeah, you
well,
can
it's
read
Ben
it too."
Franklin. It's Ben Franklin.
I think the national
turkey.
bird should be the turkey,
The eagle.
the dove, the guy.
The eagle.
The dove is the one that the guy.
You'd have to watch 1776.
And if you look
together.
closely,
My
from
favorite
Boy Meets
musical.
World, the guy that plays John Adams is Mr. Feeney, or the voice of the original Knight Rider car.
Yes, and he does sing, and it's wonderful. So, anyways, that's it for us this time.
May God bless
Tune in again.
the world. Tune in for another book review soon coming up.